Hi, I'm Michael Nadalin from Market Lead. Here's Ed Leake from God Tier Ads and Midas Media, the greatest
and Forge and Advolver.
agency for multiple platforms, multiple features, multiple benefits. I am a massive fan of Ed, have been for nearly a decade. I've been studying his stuff, and I'll always say that. And I won't be embarrassed when he tries to embarrass me about it, because I actually think you've got to acknowledge the people who have paved the path before you, and I always will. And I always acknowledge how his work has impacted me. But today, I'm lucky enough to...
And I always appreciate the dick pics, so thanks, Michael.
Jeez, okay, mate. But I wanted to have Ed on the channel because his opinion and insight to thing are probably the most valuable for Google Ads I've known from anyone in the world for the last 10 years, and still up to date as well. So a lot of people, and from years ago, I used to read books and content about Google Ads, and these people's stuff was good, but they just disappeared. Ed's been around. His agency's still running. It's not open for new clients, but he runs Agency Forge, which has outstanding information for agency owners like myself. I've had a 150% increase in my agency since joining, and that's a significant improvement. But I wanted Ed today, be on, have a chat, share this value with the world, because he doesn't put out much public content, not because he's too private, it's just because he keeps the value for the community. So I've roped him in to give some value out. So Ed, welcome, mate, and let's chat.
Cheers. That's a very, very nice intro. Sorry I made it potty mouth saying about dick pics, but that's because I'm immature. And this is why I don't put many videos out, because I offend every other person. But yeah, cool, good, thank you. And we're going to talk about what is still applicable in Google Ads from 2 or 3 years ago, versus what's changed. So, you know, how's our job changed? How's managing a Google Ads account 3 years ago any different to what it is today? And do we even believe it's that different? Because I think it's interesting. So just to prime this, I know this is on Michael's channel. I might put it on my channel as well, Michael, just to give people a double tap. To prime this, I did ask it in the God Tier Ads private group, entry on purchase of the framework, $4.99 from all great retailers. So I did ask a few members, and we got some good responses. Michael's in the group as well, so we can walk through them. I mean, from a top level perspective, go on, Michael, what do you think 3 years ago, what do you think's really changed?
Yeah, well, mate, it's firstly, on our last conversation, we spoke about some stuff by Alex Hormozi, which is very timely he released that, because I just released some videos previous that is being edited now that are going to be released soon that cover some of that stuff. And what your question was in the masterclass, Ads Masterclass group, is this is a video I actually recorded yesterday, is guaranteed lifetime of success with Google Ads. Now, the reason I can say that is because I've been using the same strategies for the last 10 years. So this blends perfectly with this question: what worked well 3 years ago that doesn't work well anymore? Or what is it? What is still applicable from 2 or 3 years ago versus what has changed? Now, I would argue that 80 to 90% of what was applicable from 2 to 3 years ago, by the way, 2 or 3 years ago was 2020. I'd be even saying the stuff from 2016 still works now. The technology has changed. The psychology remains the same. But Google Ads is a very psychology-based platform. People are proactively searching for what they want. So that psychology is not changing. So that's where I want to start. So I'll just prime with saying I think 90% is the same, 10% is different, and that 10%, it's not even worth that 10% most of the time. So that's where I'm going to start.
Yeah,
your thoughts, mate? Before we go into other people's stuff, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'd lean into that heavily. You say psychology. It's if we're talking about intent, search and shopping's intent driven. So, like you say, it's an aspect of psychology. It's commercial, unless you're looking for information, which isn't really a Google Ads play anyway. You're looking for a click that converts into something, lead or a product purchase. Features have changed, shift and moved around. Performance Max has come instead of shopping. I know people, and we've tried it, who've actually gone from smart shopping to Performance Max back to standard shopping with better results. So Google's changes are not always positive. what's the biggest thing that doesn't work anymore, with a big caveat, is SKAGing accounts. So do SKAGs still work? Yes, they do, but they don't work in the way that people used to abuse them, which is SKAGing an entire account. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a single keyword ad group. The way I use them and the way I teach using them is the same as it has been for a long time. It's the heartbeat of an account. So let's say you sell car insurance and your big spending keyword is, drumroll, car insurance. Then
wow.
that would be SKAG'd. That would be in its own campaign, its own ad group. It might be exact, it might be phrase, but probably not, and it might be broad. So there's a single keyword with a different match type potentially in an ad group, in a campaign, and that is allocated its own budget essentially. And that simply is the heartbeat of the account, because that's a high spending, high converting term, and therefore we want to see it and we want to control it, we want to protect it, and we don't want it mixed in with other budgets and other campaigns. So treat a SKAG. I call it a kingmaker in God Tier Ads, just because I like medieval and sort of
I call it the money keyword or the money maker keyword.
Yeah.
If you've got a certain search term, not even keyword, but search term, you exclude it from the other campaign, you put it into its own. It has its own budget, impression share. We have a insurance client that they had like this very niche line of insurance that were getting about 14 leads a month. Now, that was amazing for them, by the way. But I found that there was one term that was going really well. I negative that one exact match from that campaign, put it into its own campaign, put it on like top impression share or maximize impression share. The leads went from 14 to 28 in the month. It doubled the leads. Now, for most people, that doesn't matter, 14 to 28. For a very niche insurance term, worth a lot. And these money campaigns or these hit campaigns, outstanding. But that's when SKAGs do work, is when they are actually done specifically post the data being there, not just being like, I've got an account, 5 million keywords built out with an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah. It's
crazy. In my opinion, that's always been wrong, but people used to do it anyway. Full accounts from the get-go, SKAGing.
You want themed keywords, themed campaigns, or like a group of, like the campaign has like a goal or an objective based on a certain line of business, but then within that, it could be like ad groups that are based on themes of keywords that are very similar. And
commercial intent as well around
always
your keyword.
Commercial high intent,
And someone, and I've had this before, someone say, well, why do you need that SKAG? Why does it need its own campaign? Why don't you just put that ad group elsewhere? And it's purely delivery, budget control. It's all it's about. You want that keyword flat out maximizing budget. You don't want any other
impression share, market share, cost per click.
Saturate it.
Control, It's I love that you started off with that, because that is such a powerful way to get outstanding results for accounts that are already going really well.
So the other couple of things that I think have changed, audiences and conversion tracking because of privacy, GA4. The technology's been trying to catch up. So tracking is we've got enhanced conversions now in GA4, which has some interesting audience data and properties. But I don't feel like we're in a better place. I feel like these products, these features have been added to keep us where we were in terms of data, so Google doesn't lose out. So I don't think these are necessarily adding a lot to the table. It feels more like sticky plasters to keep us having reliable conversion tracking. It's never going to be 100%. So
can I ask the question there? Sorry, Ed. Is when you do conversion tracking for your clients or recommend it, do you recommend it through Google Analytics 4 linked back to the Google Ads account, or using the Google Ads conversion tag itself?
Both, but probably primarily tag. If you've got multiple channels, I don't know. I'm starting to lean on GA4 being quite reliable, honest.
Oh, interesting.
Compared to.
Every business is different, and you get to make your own decision.
Different. Most people need to use Google Ads tag. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Not a third-party tool. I've seen people say this before. If you're using Google Ads tag, you're a noob. Kasim. I completely disagree with Kasim. on that. Wonderful hair.
Kasim from Solutions 8. Come on, Kasim.
He did post that. I think I saw it pop up on LinkedIn. For a small, medium businesses, they don't need that level of third-party tracking. And third-party tracking, because we've got a couple of clients that use it. What converts? And then there's another one. I can't remember the bloody name of it. All they do is move the goalposts a little bit. And it's not... It's just... I don't know. Look, the Google tracking is pretty solid. It's reliable. If you face Google Ads off against analytics and you compare and contrast, you do get a decent enough comparison.
You reckon?
Look, if you're spending tens and tens of thousands a month, yes, get a third party as well. Yeah. But if you're multi-channel, there's no point. If you're doing pure Google Ads, even then I'd say, well, third party tracking, all it's going to do is shift the budget around a bit. I'm just not that sold yet.
We've got an enterprise client we work with who has Google Ads tracking, Google Analytics tracking, and also a third party, and they do not match up whatsoever.
No.
And it's really challenging because they're spending hundreds of thousands a month. And I'm there to consult on what the accurate data is, and that's when we've got to go back to like Google Click ID, offline data, but still like, I just find for most businesses, Google Tag Manager, use your Google Ads tag, set it up in there. That's your fundamental 101 bread and butter. Yeah. I started off with analytics, by the way, just linking them in. But Google Analytics, what it was, the beautiful free software of like, what a software, what a amazing analytical software. But then obviously over time with ad blockers and then data privacy, that conversion data isn't as powerful as it once was. So Google Ads tags.
I think GA4's improved that situation, reliability. Okay. But yeah, GA3, UA, whatever we want to call it, did definitely tail off over the past year. Like 80% is accurate or worse sometimes, just counting conversions. I think GA4's definitely caught that up. I don't know if some of it's through modeling. I'll be honest, don't understand the underlying technology well enough to know, which means, well, why are you using it? Well, I don't understand the third-party trackers underlying technology. That's why I'm not using them. And a prime example is last Q4, big retailer of ours, well, decent-sized retailer, moved a lot of budget to Facebook ads because this third-party tracker said that Facebook ads actually was converting more than than analytics was reporting. Net result, no more revenue. Net result, we got less budget, they got more budget, and the budget just moved. The client got no more revenue. So it was an exercise in futility, it felt like. I think these third-party trackers, and for a lot of data at the enterprise level, it shouldn't be used for tactical decisions. It should be strategically where you're placing budget at what stage and why. Maybe campaign level. But any lower than that is probably too granular, because then you are really trusting in that tracking being bob on. And essentially, we're measuring chaos, which is human behavior. It's completely chaotic. I might run to the crapper and buy something on a whim. I might sit there on the sofa every night looking at something and never buy it. It's so difficult to... It sounds like a leader, pretty trivial life, doesn't it? It's not my buying habits, by the way. The other thing...
they're more like a signpost. Like, they're not like, as they say in Zen, is the finger pointing to the moon is not the moon. So maybe conversion data is pointing us in the right direction, not actually what the tangible outcome is. The Google Ads tag, why I like it is the data-driven approach, whilst it may over-attribute, it actually does attribute where attribution is due, because if we're doing the old school last click model, what happens if something was the middle click or the first click and you start turning that things off and like now the start of that funnel's dead? That's why I find it relevant, especially for Google Ads. And I do the same with Facebook. Now, the data does overlap, but I prefer to have overlapping over-attributed data that gets results than under-attributed data that doesn't. Like, if you're really getting to the point where you're trying to save pennies, like, just relax. Like, stop being so stingy. Like, just run ads, get results, get on with life. There's more than life than just like lead generation and e-commerce. Like, how about run your business and focus on those things as well?
I think that's a golden nugget. You prefer over-attributing to under-attributing data or analytics because one will make you spend less and that's compounding, because then you'll spend less again because you're getting less revenue through, less conversions, and that's a downward spiral. Whereas over-attributing, yes, but it's kind of forward-looking, isn't it? It's fortuitous. It's like, oh, well, I'll spend more on that, and then next month, as a result of that, you've actually got more, even though it's not quite as much more as the attribution's telling you. So, yeah, there's a lot of that at play. I mean, what else has changed, really? You said the psychology, the fundamentals remain the same regardless of the features that Google adds to an account. And this is something that frustrates me a lot, because I sell a training product, God Tier Ads, the performance framework. But
which I've bought.
Michael has bought, which I do get a few emails about. I rarely get refunds. I think I could check the spreadsheet, actually. I think I've had 4 this year, which is trivial. Yeah. But I've just had an email from someone saying it feels out of date. And I'm like, why? What have you read? What have you watched that's telling you that something's different now? Because the fundamentals of a good ad campaign...
Hamosi? What are you saying, Hamosi?
God damn you, Al. Yeah, so... And that's just me having to not lecture someone, but just educate them on, actually, just forget that the buttons have got different colours and different names on them. Like the bidding, it's the same bloody system. Has it improved? Has it got worse? Who knows? But the options are the same. Campaign structures are still the same. Extensions are generally the same. Keyword selection and how you research keywords, the same. Match types have thinned. Their behaviour has changed, drifted, whereas exacts are less exact. So, but still, the principles remain the same. So, Performance Max, you don't have to use it. Crying out loud, it's there as an optional thing. Yeah. Particularly for lead gen, you do not have to use it.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Unless we've got an insurance client that they use it for lead gen, but their conversion points is offline data feeding back in. So it's real tangible data, not just like cooked rubbish bot leads, like legit leads. But unless you've got a high volume of data, I think lead generation PMax is, you're a cowboy.
It's fucking, we only use it with offline data. And I wish I could show you a back office report from one of our insurers. They track lead through the application, through the approval, through the policy, and all that feeds back into Google Ads as different conversion types. And PMax it's half. So the conversion rate front end and the CPA is about where you'd expect it to be, but the quality of them going from a conversion to a lead to closed is half. Not 10% worse. It's 50% worse. So there's a lot of shit. The other problem with these leads from Performance Max is that they waste the business's time because they're lower quality or they're spam or they're junk. You've got to remember, someone's got, especially a business that's doing thousands of leads a month, and they've got a team of people on the phones, on the emails. Someone's time is being used up with this crap. So, yeah, PMax is optional. I dare say it's optional for e-commerce as well.
Just quickly, Ed, with PMax for lead gen, is the elements of it are dynamic search ads, which will mostly be branded traffic most of the time if you get leads. The second part is YouTube videos. So to what extent does that actually work? I run YouTube ads for clients, get great results, but you have to run them like a laser, like dedicated. A ninja, like that. That's unforgiving because that's like a display network. That's like Facebook, but harder. And then you've got like Gmail ads and then all this other rubbish. It's like, what the hell is going on? Like when you talk about a black box, it's like, I'll open the black box and it's just full with dog turds and empty wrappers. And then there might just be like $1 in the corner. Like it's mostly rubbish. Low quality ad inventory by Google that they just want to spend.
Sounds like under my Christmas tree. Empty wrappers, dog turds, and $1 in the corner. You can't even spend $1 in this country. I think that's fair. I think YouTube,
e-commerce,
YouTube's 80-90% ad. Offer ad. Yeah. What you do inside Google Ads, you can throw a dart. If you've got a good advert and a good offer, you can throw a dart in Google Ads and it will probably work. If you've got a pretty shite advert, it doesn't matter how good you are at Google Ads, you are going to struggle with YouTube ads making it work. So
definitely.
When you then see what Performance Max puts out with the sort of like soft porn music and the slideshows, these automated YouTube ads it creates, they are terrible. They are a terrible experience. And my cynical self says that Google knows that these are terrible, but what it does allow them to do is to fill that bottom 10% of inventory that's not getting sold, that's junky, that's crap, that attracts clicks or low clicks.
It pushes the market up then, because it means that if there's more advertisers in the market, it means that the base of like the premium ads goes up.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Like display. So, display
Economics,
again.
Business, Google.
Yeah, it's not. So displays again. It's difficult. I'd say Facebook ads are definitely easier because it's a much narrower playing field, and you can pick the field you play on. Display is a lot tougher in that respect, and PMax is just blasting you farm wide, auto-generated ads, auto-generated videos, which are the most hilarious thing until you've seen 10 of them. Don't buy into the hype, and don't worry about it if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, don't worry about it. Use something else. Yeah. It's like, I can't get PMax to work. Okay, use your search campaigns.
Go back to what worked 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, yes. Shall we actually go down the list before I get hungry? Yeah. So in the group, let's read them. I mean, we can maybe graft these comments on as a screenshot after to help people who are still with us listening. I'm sorry. So Larry Kolinek says, hello, Larry. It really sucks that exact match turned into what Google thinks is related, i.e. close variants. And then on the flip side, I'm amazed that some accounts perform really well with broad. Hey, Larry, I've been saying broad for years, but I will caveat that sometimes broad works beautifully and other times it doesn't. So it doesn't always work, but yeah. So your negative keyword list should be your best friend. Absolutely 100%, Larry. What hasn't changed? You must test. Yeah. So the principles remain the same. Don't get me started on the disappearance of actual search terms. So yes, Google took search terms. For people that don't know or relatively new, Google did remove a lot of search term data a couple of years ago, might have been 3 years ago. Then they gave us a bit of it back. But certain industries, certain accounts, particularly lower spend or lower impressions, tend to not see a lot of data in the search term reports. So you might see, I've got 5 conversions. You go and look in your search term report and it's showing you 3 conversions and the other 2 are from unknown sources, which I find bizarre, because it's like, if that person's prepared to click an advert and convert, then surely their data should be visible, their search term should be visible inside Google Ads. But hey,
privacy, eh? The only workaround I have around that is you be hot on your account, check it once a day, because some of those you'll get the impressions or like the impressions and the click data that day, and then it disappears after for the search term. So if you're just a bit faster on it, you can write your negative keyword list out and also add them as keywords. Mostly it's negative keywords for me. I don't really care about adding new because you've already got that click. So the only tip and workaround is just get on that fast.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. A lot of work is with keywords is upfront selecting your keywords, and then most of it's negatives, and it's actually quite rare, especially using broads, that you then add more keywords. You're essentially it's a negative nursery, isn't it? And I did go back to Larry asking him if he felt that broads had changed over those years. He's essentially found that broads have worked in certain circumstances. Adrian Bold, fellow Brit and cynical bastard, he says it pays to be negative, which is obviously a pun. So I don't know why I've consistently positioned negative keywords as the most important aspect of an effective account. Agree or disagree? Negatives the most important thing, Michael?
Yeah, negatives and keywords. Like, ultimate success doesn't come from doing things right. It comes from not doing things wrong. So every $100 you have, you reduce the wastage, and then all that money is being allocated to proper things. And negative keywords and settings are the 2 things you need to be laser focused on from the start, and then everything will just work. If you want the one thing from advertising, it's like negative keywords / settings, and you're golden.
He then goes, bless you, Adrian. He goes on for a bit of a ramble, which I won't read out. But yeah, he's off on a tangent about. I think we should post these comments up as pictures because people will be like, okay. Dave Ashley.
Cool.
Thank you. No, thanks, Adrian. But I agree. Well, we'll both agree. Negatives are pretty high up there. Dave Ashley, wow, things that haven't changed, that's hard. See, Dave, we disagree a bit with that. So Dave's coming from the angle that a lot of things have changed. But the context of that, is that features and stuff in Google Ads, or is the underlying
strategy?
Making sure that conversion tracking is set up properly. Yeah, that's 101. It should always be the case. We can still safely ignore what Google reps have to say. Not making changes to the account. Now this is important. So what hasn't changed? Not making changes to the account early if there hasn't been enough clicks. So both ramping up or turning off too early, which is completely right. I did a soundbite about this, sort of a ramble about what the first week or month looks like in an ad account, and Dave's completely right. If you've done your job well, give it a chance to produce some data for you. I'm not saying don't touch an account if you've started a brand new account or campaign and it's going completely tease up, it's spending 10 times what you expected or whatever. Obviously, step in, but you do have to have a bit of patience and inform your client of how things work. That they might watch Big Al yesterday and think that it happens overnight, but they've got to be patient to spend the money to essentially research the market and get that data in. And then finally, he says testing broad match has improved, but he's not believing the hype around AI, which I kind of agree in terms of Google Ads. Still uses exacts in large accounts. Yeah, exacts, definitely. Google AI, what do we think in terms of Google Ads? Does it even exist yet, Michael? Is it doing anything that we can see?
I'm seeing nothing of value. If there's any intelligence, it's actually just from maybe some of the bidding models in the back end, even if they work. That's the only thing. Some of these copy recommendations, everything I just think's rubbish. I think you need more control, because the less control you have, the less, I've never seen an account that has followed the Google recommendations, the Google AI, that stuff that's outperformed someone just doing it properly. At the same time, I've seen people do the SKAGs thing and then they're just too old school. So you've got to find this perfect blend of the new way approach blended in with old school strategy or old school psychology.
Which is, I think,
Google does remove features.
Yeah, I think that's more relaxing a little bit on. Keywords is the prime example. If you've got an exact keyword that's not spending what you need it to spend to get results, but it is getting some results, it's chuck a broad in and just test it and control the outcome a bit with the budget. So, pull the budget back a little bit, chuck a broad version in, just see what it does. Keep an eye on the search terms. Do they look relevant? Are they out of context? If AI or Google's AI was that good, we'd see better context in the search terms, tighter. Its ad copy would be a bit better by now. The YouTube ads it creates for PMax wouldn't be shite. So we're a bit off, because the automated stuff, I don't think it's AI though. This is more machine learning stuff inside Google Ads, like bidding engine stuff. And the thing with the bidding engine, we just have to take Google's word on how sophisticated it is, really. If we're getting results, it's the bidding engine's amazing. But if it's not doing what we want it to do, it's well, maybe I should do manual bidding, but then I lose all this machine learning. But you don't actually know what that is. It's what Google tell us is happening. Yeah. Hey, look, automated bidding, it's definitely a step up. It's been around for donkey's years, but it's definitely a step up from doing things manually. Now, Chris Shute, and Chris, I don't know if it's actually how you say your surname, Schute, but I'm going to say it's Shute. It sounds good. Chris has put War and Peace in here. So he thinks a lot has changed in the past 3 years. So new campaign types, new ad formats, new bid strategies, new keyword match type behavior, new data attribution, new audience signals, etc. New campaign types. Well, we've got PMax. Discovery's been replaced with, what do they call it now? Like that awareness type of campaign.
Was that? Yeah. I saw some. It's new, isn't it? Like lead generation.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I am a Google Ads professional, honestly.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Like, something's got a name change and a tweak. I'm not that bothered till I see it in action and working, and I'm not going to pretend to know all about it until I've actually used it for a fair amount of time. So
there's people who will chase the trends, and there's people who will just get there to get results. Everyone online will talk about the new features.
Yeah, you mean like us recording a Alex Hormozy video?
No, but that's just context about value, mate. It's more about like when there's a new feature and people like acting like it's the bee's knees, and realistically,
they know shit all about it.
And they haven't used it, or they don't have enough clients, or they've got clients that spend like $500 or $2,000 a month. They don't actually have credible data, and then they're an expert.
It took me 6 months to record my PMax video.
Yeah.
Probably more. I waited and I waited and I waited because I saw all these videos coming out, all these comments and things. I'm like, that's wrong. That's a lie. That person doesn't know. That person doesn't know. Like, they've put something out.
Are you smirking at me?
No. But I still like, I'm like, that person's putting out information they don't know enough for it to be gospel. And I was like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit back, going to gather the data, the understanding, and then I put out 95 minutes of free training on YouTube because I was like, I wanted to blow all the crap I was seeing out the water. And some people creating courses on PMax that had less in them. I just don't. Everyone wants to be a bloody guru. Yeah. Anyway, new ad formats and new campaign types. I think they're kind of minimal. I know we've had the migration to RSA from ETAs.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of poo-pooing about that, but RSAs do the job now. So, new keyword match types, behavior. Yeah, this is probably... look, we can fix it, though, through scripts and negatives. So exact match are very loose now, but we can fix that by applying negatives. Yeah. But I say that, we've got one account where the negative list is now too large. It hit the maximum number of negs for an exact...
What, 5,000?
For an exact match ad group. That's how crazy... That's how, it's. I wanted to do a case study on it, but I can't.
But is that even necessary? Is that necessary?
Oh, it was automated though. It's an automated script that adds all the variations in. Essentially, it kills close variants and stuff like that. It's a very specific circumstance, but the fact that there were thousands of variations of these, I think it's 3 very tight exact matches, is hilarious in one way and sort of frustrating in another. So Chris, completely agree. I wish exacts were still tight, and I wish Google just said, look, test abroad and we'll give you the exacts, but give broad a chance, as opposed to just sort of trying to make exacts broads. Data attribution, well, we've got data driven versus last click now. You touched on last click, Michael. There's still plenty of accounts that can run on last click. If you're a small business running, spending $1,000 or whatever, all your data's last click really. So don't worry about that. And if you've got enough data, run data driven. It's made your life, or our life as Google Ads managers, very simple. We have 2 choices, and for most people, the choice is data driven and forget about it.
I actually think it's better for most clients anyway.
Easier.
Because when you look in the attribution report in Google Ads, you see that, maybe 60 to 80% are within the first click. Now, that might be based on that the cookie wasn't available, but I still think data-driven is relevant. Just that's my approach, even though I'm over-attributing.
Yeah, so data-driven is position-based. It's just that it's instead of being equally weighted in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th spot, whatever, Google will add a little bit of weighting, but it's position-based, which is fine. We used to use position-based a lot for our econ clients. Google Analytics import position-based. Chris, this is a big one.
But let's make this the last one, because I feel like this video has been going for 40 minutes. This is going to be a masterclass by the end of it.
Well, I'm very sorry that I'm boring you.
No, mate, it's great. I just don't want to use up all your valuable time. My
time's not valuable. What hasn't changed? Chris agrees. Core principles of running winning ads. Account structure, still important. He's put SKAG, and IBAG. I don't know what an IBAG is. I have no idea. I don't know what that is. That's hilarious. Negative keywords, very important. Yeah, we all agree on that. Proper conversion tracking. Yeah, that's 101. If you haven't got conversion tracking, what are you doing? Unless you're doing a branding campaign or an uplift campaign, fair enough. Constant search term mining. Yeah, I think we kind of said that we add less keywords than we do.
Yeah. Keyword mining was like a really good way years ago where you'd put in, you'd have a campaign with a broad match or a broad match modifier and whatever, the other phrase, and then you'd exact match the negative out. So if it's just like car insurance, you put that in as a broad match, but then you negative out exact match, and then you just mine all the keywords that are not that
alpha
keyword.
Beta.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
Cool.
alpha beta. Yeah, you got the alpha campaign, and then you mine across. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a viable strategy, but I think for a lot of people, it's too much work, and they.
It's either too much work, the data's not there, or just like sometimes it's just mental masturbation. Just like just get the damn result.
Oh, here's a controversial one: monitoring and optimizing for quality score. I have stopped giving a toss about quality score unless there's a problem, and then I'll use it as a diagnosis tool, but I don't use it as a leading indicator. As long as a keyword, for me anyway, as long as the keyword's 7 or up, essentially Google's telling me you're in the right place. So I don't, not for me.
I think quality score is really important, and I'm only recently getting back into it, really understanding the importance of the CTR, the ads being relevant, and then ultimately the page being relevant.
Yeah,
I ignored it for years, and most people I know still ignore it. It's like a very, very, very last case when sometimes if you just look at it from the start, you get higher ranks, lower cost per clicks, which means your ads show higher and it costs you less. More clicks, less money. But you don't want to be that person optimizing from like 9 to 10. It's like, no, you optimize when it's like a 3 to like 5 or 5 to 6 or 7.
Yeah, anything under 7 is a trigger to do something. 7 or above is diminishing returns for your time most of the time. I guess it's one of those things where you feel like you're on top of the account. You've done a lot of stuff on this account. It's like, you know what? This month, I'm going to analyze quality score and see if I can make some tweaks.
Yeah.
He's put search partners and display still suck for lead gen. Yeah, pretty much. Search partners. Writing good ad copy. Yeah, I mean, again, it's 101. And high converting landing pages. Yeah, 101. I did a rant about this as well. It's probably going on social media. Like landing pages. Like if you were starting out in Google Ads, what would be the advice? Was the question, and not to make this video go on too long, but it's get the foundations right in Google Ads, but then you want to multi-skill yourself, so you want to tack on some automation to speed up your process. But I said also, you really want to be good with landing pages.
Yes.
Just even knowing the fundamentals of a good performing landing page will put you in the top 10%, because most people don't do it or don't even look outside. They don't look outside their Google Ads accounts. They don't look at competitor ads. I used to be a bit like that years ago. Don't do any recon. You got to recon the search landscape.
Well, I recorded another video today exactly about this, and my concept is 50% of success comes from in the account, 50% outside of the account, being it for the lead gen. So 50% of success is from the Google Ads, 50% from the landing page. The problem is with people is they'll spend the same amount of time and effort in the account getting a 1% return. When you put that same time and effort on a landing page, you get a 500% return, 5x. And that's standard. But so many people don't have the skill, or it's a developer or somebody who's doing the landing page. It's like, just get a landing page software. It's not that hard. People think it needs to be pretty. The best landing pages that work are not pretty. They just have the core elements. Good headline, good offer, good call to action, good hero image, and just being a good business. Simple as that. And actually just make sure that your headline's aligned with what people are searching for. You got a good offer, so people contact you. A call to action, so people take action. A hero image or images to know that your business or what's being served is actually relevant to what people are looking for. And that's it. Not that hard.
And tweaks like social proof near the call to action button. So your little star rating or whatever, your Google stars or whatever. Some of my landing pages are ugly as sin, and like some of my best landing pages convert incredibly well, like 40%, and it's just a shite image of me offering something. It's a headline, it's a few bullets, it's a clear call to action with the testimonial underneath it. You can't
Ed Leake's
scroll.
exotic services.
Exactly, and you can't scroll anywhere. You're completely right. There's a lot of this outside, and funnily enough, I think it was Chris Shute actually who left us that big comment. I think he recorded a video very kindly about landing page optimization for another member. So I'm going to upload that.
Wow.
It's like inside God Tier Framework if you want to purchase, because he literally went through what makes a great landing page, showing off one of his. I think it was a before and after. So brilliant. So some of the members are, great because they share stuff like this. So Casper says evergreen. So if Google suggests it, do the opposite. I mean, he's kind of got a point. And then I know you said we've got to end here, but Nikita, she said, Nikita Mindel, I hope I'm saying your surname right, Nikita. She just said Google support has become utterly useless, which...
Yeah,
it
always has.
I think that's the tragedy, actually. We used to have Google reps that were dedicated to the agency side, and Google's, even as Premier Partner, we don't actually have someone dedicated anymore. And yeah, I think that's a loss for everyone. But that's just Google skimming and trying to make more money and constantly chasing next quarter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, mate, I reckon that was good.
What a
lot
video.
Of questions, a lot of.
Well, you can't say
answers.
that. It's got to be everyone else that tells you it's good. So leave a like and a comment to tell us if it was good or not.
Yeah, well, mate, I enjoyed it, and I think it's really valuable just to go over these things. So many people know it, but not many people do it, and you only get the results from doing. So if you've heard this a million times and you're not getting results, you're the problem because you're not doing what needs to be done. Simple as that. All of this stuff is what you've been talking about for years, what I talk about in all my videos, and simple as that. If you just do this stuff, you get results. And then when you don't get results, you do this stuff in a different way and you just keep engineering it. You're never going to get it right from the start. You'll be arrogant to think that, but it's not a one-stop shop, but there are core fundamentals that will always work.
Yes. Tough talk from Daddy Nadalin, but yeah, you are completely right. I think everyone wants a shortcut.
Yeah.
And you can't beat proper work fundamentals, and you don't have to work stupid hours like some people. I used to work stupid hours. It's not about the hustle. It's about doing the right things at the right time, applying yourself appropriately. Yes, but good. Thanks for having me on your channel again.
Mate, you're welcome. No, mate, you're a welcome guest all the time, and we'll chat soon. And we'll chat very soon after this call. So thanks, Ed.